Okay, Kant's a bit of a bugger. Alright, so what I'm going to do in just a very quick way is 10 things to give you the bare bones basics of the position. First, I'm going to isolate the only interesting thing that actually goes on in the preface and give you an idea of the project that Kant is trying to be engaged with here. Next, I'm going to move to the first section and isolate Kant's general position, largely that it's the intentions of the action and the moral quality of the action itself, and not the outcome of the action that matters in determining the moral worth of the action. Right? So this will inform our ability to reason morally as well. And then next, and this will end this first video recording, I'm going to discuss what Kant calls the rule of best fit, which is a response to an Aristotelian happiness principle. Kant claims that a happiness principle cannot give us the basis of morality. In the next section, section 2 of these videos, what I'm going to move on to is a discussion of what Kant means by the term duty, and he does this by examining 4 cases of actions which to some degree or another accord or have a relationship with duty. Right? And he claims that duty is where an action gains its moral worth. And after that, in the second section, I'm going to introduce and briefly discuss the first formulation of Kant's supreme principle of morality, that is the categorical imperative. Then in the third section, what I'm going to do is introduce and discuss briefly a criticism of Kantian morality from a group that he calls the self-love moralists. After that, we're going to take a look at 4 examples that do 2 things at once. One, they expand Kant's response to these self-love moralists, and they give us the ability to make a distinction between what Kant calls perfect and imperfect duties, which introduces a hierarchy of actions in Kantian morality. In the fourth part of this, this YouTube recording, what I'm going to do is introduce 2 more formulations of the categorical imperative that sort of round out Kant's moral philosophy. I'm going to show you how, as Kant argues, these 3 formulations are all self-same. They're 3 different ways of saying exactly the same thing, and then I will conclude with an overview discussing how these 3 formulations work together to produce sort of a well-rounded moral system. All right? So, in the preface, what Kant discusses is the necessity for there to be a theoretical basis to any applied discipline. All right? Without theory, engineers couldn't build bridges. Without theory, doctors couldn't do an adequate job of treating infectious disease. Without theory, no discipline would really understand itself. So Kant points out that there is sort of a theory that overscores every applied discipline, and morality is no different. Right? In formulating an applied ethics, we need, before we do this, in order to make sense of what we're doing, a theoretical approach, right? Some sort of overpinning sort of theory as to what makes a right action, and what makes a wrong action. Intuition is not enough, according to Kant. And in the first section, what he claims is that without this theoretical basis, non-moral principles, right, intuitive principles, might sometimes produce the right sorts of actions. I might not lie to you, right, but I might do that because I'm afraid I might get caught. Right? A major corporation might donate a large sum of money to a charity, right? But this major corporation might do it for the wrong reasons. That is, maybe to get a tax break or to create good PR for themselves so that they can sell you more crap. Right? So in either case, right, the right actions are appearing, but from a non-moral ground that just as frequently produces the wrong sorts of actions. Right? So from the same principle that produces the right actions, this non-moral principle, it might produce actions that do not line up with what Kant wants to call duty. Right? So that's basically all that Kant was up to, in addition to telling you exactly what he's doing with regard to his grounding to the metaphysic of morals, right? Philosophically. Right? So that's what's going on in the preface. Now, in the first section of the grounding to the metaphysic of morals, Kant points out that it is the intention and the moral quality of the action itself, rather than the outcome of the action, that is going to matter. All right? This is how we determine whether the right thing is getting done or not. Right? And what Kant is up to rather specifically here is claiming that even if an action, when tried in earnest, does not result in its desired outcome, you are still right to try. Right? The example I like to use is sort of a loaded example. It's the example of the workers, the rescue workers at 9/11. Right? From one point of view, when the first tower fell, these rescue workers went in and really tried to do the right thing, tried to do their jobs, tried to do their duty, and tried to save people and put out fires and manage the disaster. But from a moral theory that just understands the outcome of our actions, right, what Kant wants to claim is that, well, such a system wouldn't give these rescue workers their full moral worth. If we look at what actually happened, these rescue workers that rushed in created way more problems, right, than they actually solved. Right? They created a whole slew of additional victims for this tragedy. Right? And in terms of actual effect, they produced very little in terms of what they were able to do in terms of saving people, managing the disaster, what have you. So from a moral theory that only evaluates the outcome of our actions, right, these rescue workers didn't perform morally all that well. But there's something problematic in that understanding. Right? And Kant wants to point out that even if you fail, the moral quality of the intentions behind the actions and the action that is aimed at a situation is the standard. It's not necessarily the outcome. If you try to do the right thing and still fail, still the moral quality of the action shines through and you still did the right thing. Right? So that's what Kant is trying to demonstrate with this moral theory.